Okay. Hey guys, we are here. This is Başak.
Hey guys, here we are. This is Kate.
We made it another week.
Another week, and here we
Yeah,
are. How are you?
I am great. I just love this time spending in learning. It's amazing. These topics that came to us or we want to explore and learn more about in our week, it just gives me something to explore, something to read about, something to, think about, meditate upon. It just feels so great. And in a 30 minutes, it's almost like this little capsule that
Yes,
I feel that we are trying to create to give something to think about. What do you think?
absolutely. And I've found that our guests that we bring on, it's amazing. Like just I've listened back to some of these episodes and just hearing other people speak and from different people's perspectives. I've learned so much, and it's just, as you said, it may be one little snippet thing or something that I realized that I've been sort of struggling with or not really knowing how to think about. And then someone says something, I'm like, oh, yes. Anyway, that's what I'm hoping that this podcast does for people. Who knows? Maybe they'll,
Yeah, because sometimes I feel like I'm being indulgent, like I just am, I am learning things
I
and,
know.
I love it.
I know. But don't they say that do things you love, right? This is what
Right.
this is what our dharma is.
Yes, doing things
Our
we love.
duty.
We love
Yes.
learning.
Yes. But
So
our
that's what we're
topic
doing.
this week is drum roll.
Tolerance versus boundaries. Where do you draw the line?
Where do you draw the line? I have to just give a little thing about boundaries with my dog this weekend.
Oh,
So I was away and this week, and my dog ran up to a very specific boundary, that of a skunk. So the
oh,
skunk, I was just thinking about this, but because the skunk is very much like, do not come any closer, and
oh
here's
my
this
God.
disgusting smell. So now my
Ew.
dog is covered with skunk. Ah, I know.
So does it evaporate? Do you wash it? How do you get rid of
You
it?
you have to keep washing it. Like there's all these, the old wives' tale is that you put like tomato sauce on it or something, but
Oh, no,
that's,
not
I
only.
know, did not do that.
There's a
It's
lot
just,
of hair.
there's a lot of hair on this dog. And so you do vinegar and peroxide and stuff, but now we just got some kind of shampoo. I think, and she smells a little less, but it's going to be a long process.
The
But I just,
peroxide is gonna make your hair blonder.
I know.
Right. Oh,
Oh,
poor
the poor
baby. And
dog.
for you.
It's okay. But it just was so funny because this is such a strong boundary that the skunk has. It's like, do
Yes.
not come any closer or
It's
else.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime we speak, we know what we are going to speak about something, whatever you put your attention to, you become, right?
Yes.
There's always examples full in life that comes up. I was thinking about this topic. I have a friend who is really pushes my tolerance in terms of being late. And I am such a, you know me, I am such a on time and early person.
Yes. Yeah.
And my
Me
on
too.
time is early, right? So I'm always waiting on people. I'm so used to it all my life. But this specific friend, I was thinking about that in the past, it caused us missing shows, it caused us missing reservations, and like, she wouldn't show up maybe sometimes an hour. I mean, all this stuff. And for a long time, I always said to myself, this is her stuff. And this is something that she clearly struggles with.
Mhm.
She comes, she apologizes every time, she has all the reasons. And, I just tolerate her. I
Yeah.
just maybe, go there always late also. I try to bring all these tactics to kind of not make myself go crazy over it.
Yes. Yes.
But then, of course, it doesn't work. So and then at some point, I feel like I'm really like annoyed so much
Mm.
about this. So now that I feel like I have to have a conversation with this person
Yeah.
and really state this person, this is a boundary now.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you can come on time or like 15 minutes late, there's a grace period. I am just gonna do my thing. Like I'm just gonna maybe leave the place, or I'm just going to
Yeah.
attend the concert that I'm not just gonna wait.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
So
So
you
so that
you have not had that conversation with her yet.
not yet.
Not yet. Well, so I think this is very interesting because setting boundaries is a lot about truthfulness, like being truthful with the person. Like, I just cannot take this. And also vulnerability, because you're showing that, you can't take it, and you're just being,
Affecting me.
yeah, it's affecting you rather than just, oh yes, I can take care of everything. Whatever happens, I'm okay. You're like, no, this is not okay. So it's it takes a long time to know, and it's different with different people, right? Because
Yeah.
some people are more sensitive and you have to be a little bit more gentle, perhaps. Or
Yes,
not.
in the delivery, but I think if
Yes.
you think about the core of the situation is, all the boundaries that we can define as, personal limits, right? That's to protect our mental and emotional well-being. But when we are worried about the other party and not really knowing what they need,
Mhm.
to have no confrontation in that moment, because we just basically are avoiding confrontation. That's the other part of it.
Right. True.
But the main part of it is, I think, just to take care of ourselves, put ourselves first.
Right. Right. And speaking as a woman and how we were brought up, the whole
Yeah.
thing was to not put yourself first. It's always to be in service, which is a good thing to a certain point. But at a certain point, you have to say, no, this is not good for me. And I mean, I know that's a huge generalization, but generally speaking, women have been brought up in our culture, in many cultures, to be the ones who are always, um, uh, you know, letting those boundaries relax. And
Yeah, and I think also there's societal pressure or familial pressure too. There's expectations put on you.
Mhm.
I can relate to that, being from a Turkish upbringing. That you are expected to have no boundaries, for example, within the family sometimes. And then when you say no to something, it will come up as, selfish, or you are selfish. But this is this is to be done to protect the energy, values, and peace.
Yes.
So rather than, saying yes to something and then struggling with it, and also, you know projecting your struggle, because everything is energy. You can't fake anything in life, right?
Yeah.
If you are faking it, it's always going to come out at some point not beneficial.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and then the choice becomes, no, I'm going to, in the expense of, you know, loved ones or society calling me selfish, I'm going to still put those boundaries.
Yes. Yeah. It's a difficult thing to do. And I mean, I think some people learn it earlier than others, which I don't know how or why, just because of circumstances that they've had to, or because they have a stronger sense of self-worth and sort of instinctively know. Because if you're not taught it in your family unit or whatever your upbringing is, how do you learn it other than having those boundaries broken down and realizing that you're exhausted emotionally, physically, spiritually, and then you can't go on? But how do you so then how do you know when to continue tolerating someone, like, because there's something about tolerance that is so important. And
Yeah,
I tie it to generosity, and I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I have a sense, that it's a
right.
generous thing to be tolerant, right?
Until somebody walks all over you, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a very, it's a dance, again, relationship dance, I was going to
Oh, I
call
love it.
that, because I think we are always dancing within our relationships, how to give, how to receive, how much, right? Because, yeah, I mean, the martyrship is not the idea either, being tolerant to a level like that. So how do you become tolerant, but you don't compromise yourself? So it's in the almost like in the boundaries of respect for others.
Right.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's to me what comes up. You know, you can be tolerant, but also assertive within the frame of respecting each other.
Yes, yes. And I was thinking that, neither of us have children. We have dogs, but not children. And I think you probably, and our friends, all our friends who have children will say that you learn about boundaries when you have kids, right? And you learn about boundaries when you have dogs too.
Right.
Because you,
Because they like boundaries. You realize, I think kids are the same in that way that they like this little bit of discipline, little bit of boundary.
yes,
Um, Even though they always try, even dogs try to push against that. Because if it's done in a loving way, I think like everything in life,
yes,
right? Boundary
yes.
might also be really, really good learning. Um, but it doesn't mean again being intolerant. That's the big, I think,
Big
distinction.
difference. Yeah. I mean, personally, I've had trouble with boundaries my entire life, and I don't know why. I haven't gone into therapy yet for that. But, finally, 60 years old, I'm learning about it, or I'm actually succeeding. And I'd say not only is it so freeing, just
Mm.
to be truthful with someone, because I used to feel like I didn't want to hurt their feelings, and I wanted to just
Don't want
shoot.
conflict. That's the bottom
Yes.
line, right?
Yep. Yep. Because I do want everyone to live in harmony and love each other. I know it sounds so stupid, but I do. And so it was so hard. But I did find with certain people when I was very clear just about and vulnerable and saying, I just can't do it because I'm exhausted, that they were so fine with it. And I don't know what I was so worried about. Because if they do really like you, these friends or whoever it is, they'll be like, of course. And if they don't, if they get pissed off, then maybe they shouldn't be your friend is the other thing too, if we're talking about friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
think that's very true because friendship is a relationship. In any relationship, there is a consideration for the other person.
yeah,
But then if it's if it's only for one person's benefit, then it's just not also working, right? There
right,
has to be a holistic understanding with each other that
right.
is beneficial to both. And of course, again, it's a dance. Sometimes in one way, sometimes the other way. The scale is going to move up and down a little bit. That's
Of
expected.
course, of course. Yeah,
And nobody
yeah,
is gonna, also count that, oh, last time it was on your,
exactly. Yes,
it's not that either, but if somebody is saying no, right? How do we not take that personal and really inquire even, I think it's a conversation like everything else in life,
yeah,
right? Can be openly, because I think sometimes when you say no to someone, it lands on them as a rejection.
yes,
But it is not, right? It's not about them. It's
right.
about your personal space.
Yes, yes.
So I think more conversation can clear that up.
You're absolutely right. And it made me think about at work, I mean, in the workplace boundaries. I know that's very hard, right? Because you're employed by this company. And at what point do you say, I just can't
Not,
do anymore,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
can't do it anymore. Yeah.
yes, or I can't take that project on because I got so much, and do it truthfully, not just because you don't want that project, but you really, that's a difficult daily struggle, I think, that people have.
I think what I find in my work history is everything again can be resolved by communicating,
Yeah.
right? If you let everybody know what is going on in your schedule, what is your duties right now, what is your deadlines right now, I mean, what can you deliver at a given time, very openly, honestly, or what you may need in order to deliver what's being asked of you. If you can do a little bit strategic thinking and come up with not just a no, but it could be yes, because in workplace everybody wants to hear a yes, right?
Mhm.
But you can also say yes, but
Yes.
given the right, tools, help, time, whatever it may be, this
Mhm.
can be done.
Mhm.
But if you just say flat out no, then of course it's not received well in the
Yeah.
workplace. So there has to be that understanding. I never forget, whenever I used to go to my boss's office to, express if there's a problem, to talk about that. I knew already I couldn't just go there and say there's a problem.
Yeah.
I would also have to say it because he's not interested. He doesn't want to hear a problem.
No.
You wanted to hear from it. There's a problem, and here is what how I think that we can resolve it.
Yes, you go
And
in
that's
with the
all he
answer.
wanted to hear. And then
Yeah,
it's like, okay, do it or not do it, or here's more for you to do. This is the help that I can give you,
right.
right?
That is,
Like that.
it's, yeah, it's so good. And it made me think, from my actor days. Did you ever do improv in some of
No,
your,
oh my God, that's like the enemy. It's so hard.
no, but it's so much fun. And the big thing in improv, it's always yes and. Like
All right.
you accept what they're saying and you then take it a different way or you offer something else. And it's all about improv. And that's why you can think about your daily thing at work too. It's this improv dance where you're
Mhm.
offering and you're receiving and adding to it. Or it could be an and or a but. But is still a little bit of a push back, so you can say yes and
Yeah.
versus yes but. But it's just so interesting. I love
I
your
think everybody
analysis.
should get an acting training because I think that it really helps you see life differently
Yeah.
and realize that everything is actually we are in a video game or we are in a stage.
Yeah.
This is all a game.
Yes.
And can I just then not be so attached to, everything and
Right.
take a step back and play a role in this game? Then
Yeah.
everything is much easier, isn't it?
Yes. Well, if you think about like your life is a script, but who's writing that script,
Right.
And and then
Exactly.
and then also I was just thinking about when we were talking boundaries, everything's about what decisions you make, like every moment we are making decisions. It's absolutely amazing. So, and each decision, and you can't get too think about it too much because you start to drive yourself crazy, but every decision leads you on a certain path,
Yeah.
And so as you begin to look at your life that way and say, what is my decision, let's say, about this boundary? And if you go one way, it's going to take you down this certain path. If you go another, and you just start to say, where do I want to end up? And
Well, that's the thing. Like, that's what I meant by critical thinking.
yes,
It's just that, yeah, we talk about be present, be present, be present. But whatever you are experiencing in this moment creates your future moments,
yes,
right?
yes,
So that there has to be a consideration of like that bigger picture,
yes,
cause and effect.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, and then in that there's a feeling of control, right? Like people sometimes say my life is so out of control, but no, you can.
No,
You
you
can.
can,
Yes.
exactly.
You
If you
can make
stop and breathe.
hmm
And yeah, like
and then make
consider
the
it
decision.
rather than react to everything that's coming your way, right? That's fine. I wanted to read a Bhagavad Gita quote.
Oh, good, good, good. I was going to ask you, what quotes do we have today? You're our
I
quote
have a
master.
Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 14. I mean, I live with Bhagavad Gita, like that the daily read for me. It's just so empowering,
I
I
know.
think, to my life. So chapter 2, verse 14, it says, O son of Kunti, who is Arjuna, the interactions of the senses with the sense objects give rise to cold and heat, pleasure and pain. These experiences are fleeting and temporary. Therefore, endure them, O descendant of Bharat. So, this is the tolerance code,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Yep.
So, there is this idea of, there's an understanding that because of our interactions with outside world, material world, we are sure to experience these dualities, right? So there has to be this almost mental resilience and emotional boundaries, and tolerance of these that are coming and going because we know everything is temporary.
Right, right. So it makes me think of when you do yoga nidra, there's a section where you have the person imagine their body hot and cold, wet and dry, happy and sad. And it's an exercise to know how to deal with these temporary things, right? And that they are temporary.
Right. And the understanding, I think the deeper understanding of, I am not these experiences, or these experiences don't determine who I am, right?
Right.
There is that understanding in Sankhya philosophy, we call it in yoga, that I'm not this body, I'm not this mind, I am a
Yes.
spiritual being, right?
Yes. Yes.
Um, but then there's another quote, not but And there is another quote. It's
Yes,
a
and
chapter 6, verse 5. It says, let a person lift themselves by their own mind and not degrade themselves. For the self alone is the friend of the self, and the self alone is the enemy of the self.
oof,
Right?
yes,
So, so your mind can either uplift you or destroy you, right?
yes,
So there has to be a boundary that comes from within. So it's about self boundaries, right?
yes,
What
yes,
are you listening? Which mind are you listening?
right.
And that allows, I think, you to detach from a little bit of your mind also and take responsibility
Yeah.
for your thoughts and as a result, your actions.
So the boundaries seem to be all about yourself, right? Because you set the boundaries. Tolerance seems to be about others. Would you say that's
Yes, so tolerance is more external, right? Like, I mean, it's an inner tolerance, but for something happening externally,
right? So the hot, the cold,
hot the cold,
the good days, the bad days, that's what we're
successes
tolerating,
and failures, right?
right? And then the boundary is that you set to protect, not protect, is that the right word? Maybe to protect
Yeah,
or
like to be your best friend, right? Like
yes,
from this code, in order to be your best friend, to do what's best for you, because then you can be there for others. If you are not
exactly.
taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. It's all a fake taking care. I just, that whole idea of, I am running on empty, but I am doing everything for everybody. Like, no, please
Yeah,
don't do that.
I know.
Please don't run an empty and do everything for everybody. Give it
Right,
to yourself first,
right,
right? And then, because then you can be really useful for others.
right,
Because believe me, nobody can run empty and then do good by others.
right.
Uh, I just don't believe in that. That's like a fake
I agree.
advertisement.
Well, that's sort of me that, I'm no longer sort of working in New York, but in New York, that was always the, I'm so busy, oh my God, I'm doing, and if the busier you
That's a
are,
virtue in New
yes,
York
the
to
the
be that
better you
person.
are. I don't know. No, I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, I used to work with somebody. He was so proud of, being the hardest working person that I worked all weekend. I had no weekend, and I would be like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm so sorry that you did that,
Yeah.
you know? Like, no, please take time for yourself so that actually you could be a better person. We could actually have an easier time with you when you show up at work. You won't be so angry, at work all the time
Yes.
because
Yes.
yeah, your batteries are running in empty, of course.
Right. Right.
Right? So yeah, please don't.
I think I used to be a little bit like that. Like there is that thing about feeling if I work harder, it
Oh,
is going to be better, and it's sometimes not, isn't it? Sometimes
I
it's
had that scenario too, right? In order to achieve things, you need to work hard in life. That's like a family motto, you know?
yes, yes. And
And
there's
I
some,
really ran that a long time, ran that scenario in my mind. I always pushed myself so much at
yeah,
work until the last maybe, 5, 7 years. And then, getting into yoga philosophy, I never forget my teacher, our teacher, told me when I was expressing this, that how much hard I was working. He said, Bashak, don't work hard, work less, take it easy. And I was like, whoa, this is a huge instruction. This is not a simple, by the way, thing, by the way.
yeah,
This is a life lesson.
yeah, yeah. So what did
Right?
you do with that when you heard that? Like,
Oh my God, I totally took it to heart. And that's one thing that, I do. Whatever my teacher says, I'm going to follow because, there's a surrender as a being a good student, right? And I did follow that. And I started to take it easy, work in work hours and, well, as much as you can, of course, you
hmm
carry
hmm
some work home. We are in social, everything.
hmm
But I really did, it really landed on me. I really got that instruction and it totally changed my work persona, I think. Plus, things got easier.
they
Things
did
got,
just
yeah,
everything.
totally.
How interesting.
You
That's
realize you don't really need to work hard. You need to work smart. Well, that's another
that's another
catchphrase.
topic. That's a good
That's
topic.
another
Yes,
thing, but it is
yes.
very true. I totally. feel that.
I think you're right. And but that's a boundary thing too, right? Because,
Yes.
and so if everyone has these clearer boundaries and are working within a certain limits, then you can work in harmony. It's when, the boundaries aren't there and you're spilling over and you think you're doing someone else's work and they're not doing their work and you get, anxious about that or think it's unfair. I'm working so hard and you're not. And then all these thoughts come up and bad relationships at work. But yes, but it is about boundaries.
And the relationships, talk about personal relationships,
Mm,
Oof,
yeah.
how much to be tolerant, where to put the boundaries. I feel personally, and I'll answer that. I ask the
Yes.
question and answer.
Will you answer it, please?
Jonathan always says that to me. You're asking the question, but you're not waiting for the answer. You're answering it yourself. Can I say something? I'm like, no, you can't.
He's got
No,
a
but
lot of tolerance, your husband.
I think, well, it goes both ways, my dear, for
I
sure.
know. I know. I know.
But I'm a firm believer of boundaries in romantic relationships, partner relationships too, big time.
Yes.
Because, I mean, by nature, we would like to take, if we can, as much as we can. So it's good, it's healthy to have a boundary where there is also that then it becomes more gentle, right, with each other,
Mhm.
so that you're not really pushing, pulling, but because that's what happens when somebody push, the other is pulling.
Right.
So that's like completely, off balancing
Yeah.
that situation. You learn to become more gentle with each other when there is, gentle boundaries put on very early on. I mean, they change, of course. We have to be
Yeah.
flexible, right? That's why the tolerance conversation.
Right. 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 Can you give us an example of that you feel
Of
like?
like a relationship boundary,
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
you
curious.
know, yeah, for example, I could be easily, because, I always treat my dog as my dog, right?
Yeah.
My decision to get my dog, it's my dog. Um, and my husband gave a little bit of a, resistance at the beginning to get a dog. So it's even more my dog, right? Of
Mhm.
course, now he's in love with her.
Right.
But I could easily walk her and do everything for her 24/7. I love it. It
Yeah.
doesn't bother me. But on the other hand, he's a partner in this. So I came up with already, like, from an early on, like, at nighttime, I don't like to walk her. Could you please take the night walk? And now he does that without being asked, without even having a conversation about it, none of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, in a way that it is, to me, a loving gesture still. And it doesn't bother him. He
Yeah.
likes to walk. But also, like, he takes part in upbringing and
Yes.
caring for our dog.
Yes.
It is in a way of a boundary, because otherwise it would be all maybe up to me to take care of
Yes.
her. Like something like this, maybe.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I think that's right. That's a very good point because otherwise you'd start to feel resentment, right? Because you're doing it
Oh,
all right. And so in this way, it's quite harmonious how you've worked it out, and there's something about that. There's also a consistency that you're sticking with, right? And
yeah.
so you
Well,
have
I'm
that.
lucky. My husband likes discipline a lot,
Oh,
German
oh
upbringing.
yeah.
So yeah, anything that is like this anything you say becomes a rule
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
So, and he'll follow to that.
Oh, it's
He's gonna
great.
come on the podcast, so we're gonna talk to
Oh,
him
good.
about some
Oh,
of
good.
this
I'm
stuff.
curious.
I think he
I'm
would be the
curious.
best person to talk about discipline and
Oh, yeah.
perseverance and no excuses and all that stuff.
Oh, good. That's a very useful topic. So, what is our homework for
Omar, I
today?
think
Yes.
this is something that I am almost thinking of journaling this week,
Okay.
and to reflecting on, where have I been too tolerant, or where have I been intolerant? On where do I need stronger boundaries?
Yep. I think I would do the same thing, just sort of take notes um and look. And I think also need to examine. I think our family is grown and we're doing much better, but I could take a closer look at that within family because that can be the most challenging, right? Yes.
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, family, it's so cool that I think Doyal said it in our last episode that, you think that you're enlightened, go spend time with your family. That's like so cool. But
Yeah.
also, what he said really resonated with me. Um, you think you're enlightened, go love your family.
I know.
Oh,
I know.
like amazing. How beautiful.
I know. Sort of taking it to the next level, right?
The
Yes.
next level.
Yes.
Exactly. I am taking that as a mantra. I love
Yes.
that.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Me too.
But again, healthy boundaries.
Yes.
With
Yes. And just,
tolerance.
right. And being truthful and give and take in this dance. I love it as this idea of a dance that you're having with
Yeah.
people, a nice waltz.
And the dance requires, that gentleness,
Yes.
partnership,
Yes.
the trust,
Yeah. Trust. Oh my goodness. Yes. All those things.
all
Absolutely.
those.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Very.
right. Another
Well, we're at
week.
the end of our episode, I think.
Yes, I think so. So
That
another week
was
of
so
learning.
lovely.
Um, and I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you. Same to you. And I hope everybody who's listening, you're enjoying this. Please send us some notes. Let us know what you want to talk about, what you want to hear. If you have suggestions to come on and be interviewed, we'd love to have you in the show. Any suggestions, we are open to it.
Absolutely. No
Thank you.
boundaries where that's
No,
concerned.
no boundaries on that one. Yes, go for it.
I think. We'll see.
And visit us on Instagram. We have an Instagram page now, We
Yes,
Women Enlightened. So please come follow us.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, my friend, let's dance our way into the rest of this week. Oh, into the weekend. Woohoo!
The weekend.
All
Woohoo.
right. Bye, Bashak.
Bye, bye, Kate.
See you next week. Here we go. Bye.